everybody, I'm Heide Lang from the Fit Cooking School and welcome to another edition of Find Your Inner Gourmet. Today we're going to start talking about butter and another important building block of cooking. Well, why is the kind of butter you buy so important? Because as I've said before in our other videos, you want to make sure that your ingredients and the building blocks of what you're using are right. If you use the right ingredients, even the simplest recipe will turn out so much better than you ever expected. So what about butter? Well, here at the Fit Cooking School and in our home life, we only use unsalted butter. Why is that? Well, because for a couple of reasons. For one thing, that salted butter has a much longer shelf life, which means that manufacturers, the stores, can sell the butter for a much longer time. Salt is a preservative. So often, if you compare unsalted butter to salted butter, you'll see that it actually does taste a bit stale, even though technically it is not rancid. So we only use unsalted butter for freshness reasons, but also because of the salt. As we mentioned in our earlier videos, we want to make sure that we choose the kind of salt we use. So sometimes we want to use sea salt, or we always want to use kosher salt, a salt that has a really good, pure taste. So here are some of the ones that we often use when we're cooking or baking. Here in Connecticut, we use Cabot brand because it's fresh and it's pure, and Land O'Lakes. They're very, very common brands. Now, on special occasions, and if you can get it in your supermarket, if you can't, these are great choices. But really, any unsalted butter is always better than using the salted butter kind. We use this butter, is one of our favorite. You can now get it at Stop and Shop here, believe it or not, called President. It's from France and it's fabulous. And there are other ones that come from other countries that may be in your supermarket. One that's very, very popular, also delicious and really sweet, is called Kerrygold. So next time you're at the store, I want you to go and just buy, even I think you can still open the boxes and just buy one stick. Buy a stick of butter, or better yet, buy a whole pound of butter. I promise you, you'll use it, and compare the taste of salted and unsalted. So you say to yourself, "But I like that salty taste." Well, great. So spread it on your sandwich, and then add a little of your own salt. You will still taste the sweetness of the butter so much more, in so much more of a dramatic way than if you were using salted butter. So what are the kind of things we do with salt? Well, of course, we make sauces, and we use it in pasta. We use it to saute many, many things. But one of the great things about it is that it's also a great way to dress up a recipe, dress up even a simple steak, anything that you make, or a sandwich. So today, we're going to take some basil, some fresh, beautiful, organic basil, and we're going to make some basil butter. Now, the great thing about this is that I'm choosing basil today because that was what was fresh in the market today that I saw. But you can do so many things with butter and create these herb butters or other kind of combination butters. And we're going to create a roll with some wax paper or some parchment paper. The great thing is you can use garlic or thyme, tarragon, rosemary, anything you really like. Or mushrooms. If you take some dried mushrooms and put them in water and then let them soften, chop them up really well, and you mix that in, people will think that you slaved away on that steak when you put a little porcini mushroom butter on it or something like that. And it really took almost no time at all. So today, as I said, we're going to take our basil and we're just going to very coarsely chop it now. And we don't want to chop it as finely as we're going to use it in our butter, because it will darken too quickly. And we also want the taste of the butter to merge with the basil as we're doing it. So we're going to take one stick of butter. How much basil? That's really going to depend on you, how much you like. We like very strong flavors here. So this is about a half a cup. So I'm going to open the stick of butter, and I'm going to chop this up a little bit, as you'll see, and into just sticks. And then I'm going to mix it in as we go. And then we're going to roll it. So here's the butter, and we'll mix this in, and then we're just going to chop, chop, chop. And as this is happening, again, the flavor of the basil will unite with the butter. Okay? So this will probably take you a little while, and of course the butter will soften, but you don't want to start with softened butter. Why? Well, because then it will be very hard for your knife to go through. Even now, it takes a little bit to do. So we're just going to chop this up. So once we've chopped this up, and as you can see, this is now pretty finely chopped. And if you really don't want to do it inside the butter because it does get kind of mushy, you can actually, chop this before you add the butter, but it will taste better that way. These are also known, by the way, as compound butters. That's kind of a fancy word of saying the same thing. Chefs have a way of wanting to use fancy words, kind of like the way doctors do. So I try to keep it as simple as possible because many of these things are actually very, very, very basic. Okay, so we have our compound butter, and we're going to take a piece of wax paper. And what you want to do is try to get it in the shape of a log as much as possible before you just plop it onto the wax paper, because the wax paper, we just don't want it to spread around a lot, okay? So I've got it sort of in a shape here, and I'm going to even it out. See, if you don't have it even on the wax paper, obviously you're going to have a very uneven roll. So we'll take our hands and we'll make a nice little skinny roll here, because it will flatten out once we roll it. So once you have it sort of even, neaten up the sides. I'll put this over here so you can see better. And we've got our nice roll here. Okay, so we're going to take it and put it like this, fold it over. And then when we wipe our hands, because they're all full of butter, and we'll roll it like this and just roll it back and forth. Will it be a perfect roll? No, it doesn't need to be. But we just want to smoothen it out, okay? Now this is going to take about 2 hours, of course, to harden as we want it. You can use it right away on a sandwich because now it's nice and soft. And then we'll twist the sides, and we'll put it in the refrigerator. And when it's time for dinner and we make a steak, you take a slice of this and put it on your steak, and my goodness, what a winner of a dinner that will be. Well, thanks for joining us again for another edition of Find Your Inner Gourmet. I can't wait to join you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.